Okay, and hold on here. I'm looking at our chat. Okay, now we are recording. So welcome to the monthly meeting of the Consumer Affairs Licenses Committee. And I would like to start by asking Florence to please take attendance so that we know that we have a quorum, which I think we do, but let's get it all down.
Consumer Affairs Committee Chairperson Kathleen Warnock.
Here.
Marie Torniali, Vice Chair.
Here.
Ann Bruto is on medical leave. She's in the hospital. Jean Marie D'Oliva. Brian Martinez. Patricia Maheka. Stella Nicolau. Juliette Payaba. Dino Panagoulias. Quinella Williams.
Here.
Thomas Wright.
Here.
Jaleesa Wise.
Here.
There goes. Thank you.
Okay. So now we know who is here. Now everyone has been given both the agenda and the accompanying materials to go over for the liquor license application. There are actually 18 of them, and 2 of the people who are applying to the businesses we have called in tonight to talk with them a little bit about what they're doing and how their business is going and how they can best be good neighbors. So did everybody receive the spreadsheet with all of the 18 liquor license applications listed?
Yes.
Okay, does anybody have any specific questions about ones that are other than Republic or HOA, which are both here tonight? Okay, so we're going to start up. We're going to review the liquor license applications. And do we have Republic Astoria here and or their representatives?
Hi, I'm the representative for Republic Astoria. The applicant, I spoke to her a few minutes ago. She had an emergency. She couldn't make it on the meeting. She asked that if she can postpone or if, she gave me authorization to speak. To the best of my knowledge, I'd be happy to speak for them.
Okay, well, I think we do have some questions, and if you can't answer them, then we can have her come back in when it's not an emergency. But there's some stuff that we've been looking at that I think you might be able to address with us. Because one thing is Republic in fact open right now? Because we've looked at their record for liquor licenses, and the last one that they had expired on August the 31st.
She's been closed.
Okay. So then, because this liquor, the application coming in, what are the plans to reopen the club or restaurant?
Well, they're going to be submitting their renewal application with the SLA. That'll take roughly another 2 weeks before they're open. She told me that they haven't had too many, they haven't really had too many incidents, recently. It was under an old management more than 2 years ago. She took over about 2 years ago, and since then there hasn't been too many incidents, is what she's telling me.
Excuse me, I'm sorry to interrupt you. What is your name, please, and what is your relationship to the organization?
Gustavo Sabagal, I'm the representative.
What type of representative, please?
I'm their accountant.
You're their what?
CPA.
You're their accountant. So not legal representative, but accountant. Okay, thank you.
Right, I'm not an attorney, no.
Okay. All right. So, so you're telling us, one, that we have heard conflicting reports that the current management of HOA is actually the people who ran Home before the business Home, which closed down in 2020 and then reopened. So
I'm sorry. I just want to make sure are we still talking about Republic or we're talking about
I'm sorry,
HOA?
I'm looking at the wrong page on my notes. Apologies to that. Now I'm looking at the right pages of my notes. Okay. Now we did receive reports from the community policing that from last June through this July, there were 73 311 calls for noise and 43 911 calls in total. And that's frankly enough to be worrisome, because if you have that many, that's a lot of both noise complaints and complaints about possible other crimes. So have the owners addressed this with you?
No, I don't have any knowledge of these, of what happened or how many times it happened.
Perhaps we can have someone from the 114 give us sort of a rundown of the issues that came out of Republic in the last year before they closed down, and the kind of calls that they were getting, both 311 and 911.
How you doing? Good evening. This is Lieutenant Dixon from the 114. For Republic, year to date, I have 14 911 calls, 15 311 calls. I have 4 complaint reports. I have 6 felony assaults that occurred there. All 6 were in one incident back in February where 6 people were stabbed. I have 1 menacing with a firearm, and then I have a lost property and unclassified. The 911 calls break down to, I have 2 calls for help, 1 physical fight, 2 accidents, 1 dispute, and then 3 other. Your 311 breakdown for the 15 for this year, I have 5 commercial noise, 7 are parking, 1's a blocked driveway, and 2 abandoned vehicles. The big issue that I had with them this year was that 6 felony assaults that I mentioned on 1 incident, which I did bring that to their attention, that it was probably preventable with some notification from the staff there. And since then, they've been better with notifying us if there's any issues so we can get on it before anything becomes too serious.
Okay, and let's see. I'm also looking at the other stuff. Then I also, I think that since we do not have the owner with us tonight, and we have a CPA who is a representative but not a legal representative, I do think we need to invite the owner back next month and make sure that we know this stuff is coming up, because of these sort of issues, we do need to know from them, from the owner, when they are actually officially opening, whether they are abiding by the stipulations which prohibit third-party promoters. And I have seen online some TikToks and things like that that suggest that there are events going on with third-party promoters there. And then that also, the next question leads to, what kind of security do you have, and what kind of plans do you have to not do the things that get people called into 911 or 311. Evie, you have a question?
Yeah, I guess since we do have someone who works there, so you're saying it hasn't been open at all? Since when? Since which day?
August 31st.
So there's been no events going on, nothing happening in the space since then?
No, nothing.
So there wasn't, I mean, I can just kind of go on social media and see all sorts of things being promoted for Republic. And actually, I did go by there the other night and it was open. So you're 100% sure it's been closed? There's been no alcohol served there? There have been no parties? There's been nothing?
Honestly, I'm communicating what the applicant told me. If she tells me she's not open, I'll take her at her word.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't work in the space?
Oh, no, I don't work in the space. No, I just do the license renewals and the original application for them. And I'm their accountant, but I don't work. I'm not privately working with them.
Okay. So are you paying a promoter, a third-party promoter?
I don't know whether they are or they aren't. I think it's best if we postpone. And I think these are questions that they can answer. I can answer questions on the license, but I can't speak to the operations of the business, that deeply.
Okay, so one of the things that we do want to affirm is that at the moment, they do not have a liquor license. They are expecting one within the next few weeks.
Correct.
But
Okay.
we would have to make our recommendation before like as soon, so I don't even know if we can wait until next month. So we should talk about that after.
Yeah, I think it's important to get the owner manager in as soon as possible because there seems to be some difference between what they're saying and what people are observing in person and on social media. So that's extremely important for us to deal with. How soon? I mean, we can how soon can we get the owner or manager in? We can
get them on tomorrow. Something just came up for her just a few minutes ago. But she said she can do it any other day.
Gustavo, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
What is the person's name who will have the license?
Milagros Pantaleon.
Milagros. And Milagro is an owner of that business, Republic?
Yes, she's the owner of the business.
And not an owner of the location, the address, correct?
No.
Yeah, and is she the sole owner or is it?
She's the sole owner.
She is. She has no additional partners?
No.
She owns 100% of the shares.
100% of the shares.
Does she have any management staff?
She definitely does have management staff. Yeah, she doesn't do it by herself.
Who is the general manager, please?
I don't know the general manager's name.
Is there, so I would assume there is a general manager.
I mean, there's definitely management. I don't know if it's one general manager. She has a couple of managers.
Yeah.
That's something she would have to answer.
Okay, it's concerning to me that despite the fact that the owner cannot be there, she does have and employs a general manager. And she also has a couple, pursuant to your answer here, managers. However, none of them are here to speak with us. And you have no information. You are a third-party accountant who's handling only the license. We have material questions regarding the running of the establishment. Can you get either the general manager or one of the managers on this call for us? We've scheduled this for a month.
I understand.
Do you want a second call? We could take our next.
I can reach out to her. Maybe if you're taking care of somebody else in the meantime.
Certainly.
I can see if I can get a hold of her and see if I can get a manager on.
Through the chair, I think if we second call this one and go to our next license.
I agree. We're going to be here for about an hour. Therefore, we're going to have the time when we get either the owner or the general manager in to ask the questions that we need to ask. So then what I suggest we do right now is table our discussion of Republic in the hopes of being able to deal with one of the principals or general manager before the end of this meeting. How do people feel about that?
I think that would be necessary because we do need to give our recommendation. And I would have to say, if someone from the establishment does not appear, I will simply recommend that anything that the committee does here is not to support the application simply because they've not taken their community board seriously, thereby not taking their community seriously.
I think that's a good summation. So let's
Can I just ask one more question before we? So, Mr. Sabogal, who's that next to you? Is that an employee of the?
No, this is the owner of HOA who's also on the agenda. So he's actually here in the office with me for the Zoom meeting.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, that's convenient. All right, so I assume we're going to be here for at least another 45 minutes. So I would like you to do your best to get an authorized either manager or owner of Republic to come speak to us before the end of this meeting. So I'm not sending you off to do this, but please, I hope this can happen.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll reach out to whatever contact I have there.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, because there are some questions that need to be answered. All right then, so we're tabling them for the time being and moving right on along to HOA, Astoria Restaurant and Lounge. So
That's this gentleman.
yeah.
Hello,
so,
everyone. I'm
hello.
Ali.
Hi, Ali.
How are you?
Oh, we're good tonight. And let's see. We also, now I'm going to ask the questions that I had written down for HOA, which is that, can you confirm to us that the previous establishment home has different owners and management than the current HOA?
Yes.
Yeah. So when home didn't have, they were closed for about 2 years, and then Mr. Muhammad came and bought the entire establishment 100%. The old owners have not been here since then.
Okay. Since we have had, since things started opening up again, there have been some complaints for noise and for other things. So once again, I would love to turn to the 114th to tell us what they can about the 311 and 911 calls about HOA.
How you doing, Lieutenant Dixon again? So in regards to HOA, I have, again, this is year to date, so from January 1 till today. I have 39 911 calls, 64 311 calls. Of the 311 calls, all 64 are for commercial noise. The 911 calls, I have 6 that are for calls for help, 1 for a past assault, 5 for assault in progress, 3 for fighting, 2 for disorderly groups, 2 for disputes, and then 16 for other, 2 accidents, and another aided. Of the complaints that I have 14 complaints coming back to the establishment. 1's going to be for a robbery, 1 for a felony assault, 1 for misdemeanor assault, a criminal mischief, 2 harassment, 4 lost property, and then I have 3 for obstructing a governmental agency.
That's not a really good record for year to date. It's worrisome that there are crimes that happen there at a fairly regular rate, better than 1 a month, and that consistently that the neighbors complain about noise. So we'd like to hear from HOA what you plan on doing about this.
Well, first and foremost, these noise complaints, they have nobody above them, and they're on Steinway Street. I mean, I know that businesses call on other businesses for noise complaints. And all of these noise complaints we found out are unverified also. So is it somebody calling because they're a resident, or is it another business calling in a call? Is it specifically for them? You know, I do know that they have a decibel reader as well to make sure that the noise stays below a certain level.
Well, here we all are in Astoria, where everybody really does live cheek by jowl. And even if you're not living directly over a club, the noise and music from a club can affect people buildings away. So that's, if there's consistently calls about noise, then that's something that you need to look into. And it is something that you can go to your community police officers and go to the nightlife meetings and find out what you can do to do better, basically. So I think that's important to know. And in addition, some of those, the 911 calls are for some pretty serious crimes. So would you be able to tell us a little bit about what your security is now, how you are improving it or how you plan to improve it, and what you can do about lowering the violence rate at your establishment?
I mean, I know he has a lot of, how much security guards do you have?
You have 13.
13 security guards.
Professional company.
Professional company. When people leave, they ask them to not loiter in front. You know, Mr. Muhammad has another establishment in Forest Hills that he runs a tight ship there. He runs a tight ship here. I guess I wonder, these 911 calls, is it their patrons? You know, is it people coming down Steinway Street with an open container that are in front of their establishment? I know that
you have the 114th here, and you could, because you are on the streets every day, you do know in general what the behavior is around a specific institution.
Yeah, I'm going to just state too that with my deployment at nights, I work Friday night and Saturday night till 6 a.m. the next day. So I am on Steinway Street from midnight till 6. My deployment, I have a fixed post that goes in front of that club around like 3:30 every single Friday and Saturday night. Sometimes I bring a second post because there's such large disorderly groups coming out of there. So I wouldn't pass the buck onto the rest of Steinway, because the other clubs on Steinway also have similar problems. So again, like, I wouldn't pass that on to other clubs letting out and people walking up the street. Again, I have a post that I specifically put there just for this issue to utilize my resource for that.
Well, that seems to imply that then there could be more done to keep the crowds more orderly and from making noise and getting into trouble. So how then can, I'm back to the owners, how can you address this and make it better?
Yes,
Maybe having a security guard outside,
Uh,
like,
we do-
maybe having an additional security person outside.
we do see the NYPD, they come, they help very much. You know, is the problem we have outside is the two benches in front of the store. I'm not using them as an excuse. Other people carry their friend from, down the block. They sit down there. You know, things escalate in the front. And when we tell people to leave, then it turns to a problem sometimes on us as security for the establishment. Meaning, like my security, they get people saying, "Oh, you're not the owner of the sidewalk. I'm not leaving." Even the NYPD will be standing with us, next to us, and we say, "Okay, we just gotta this guy. We working on it. We know it. We once we get also another officer come in and say, load the music. I turn down both of my bass. I don't have no more bass in the store." Just so I'm working on everything that the NYPD come and ask us to do right away. We're trying to fix it. But the outside, like I said, I will have someone there every Friday, Saturday, and make sure no more hanging out front of the store and everybody got to go home.
And they've also been closing at 3:30 instead of 4 a.m. So I think that'll help as well.
Well, if I could say one more thing, that will absolutely help the 3:30 closure, because I have other clubs that have started closing earlier, because again, it's just a matter of like, the earlier you close, the less people are drinking. It does help with that. So I would continue that practice if I were you.
Yeah, absolutely. So even like Gustavo was saying, I have a also hookah lounge in Forest since day one, 2011. We got the liquor license. It's been at 3:30. Also here at 3:30. I have also people, every single person inside the establishment in HOA over 5 to 6 years experience in the nightlife. We don't overserve. We don't let no one smoke inside the establishment. We don't let we try our best. We've been in this is my 13 years in the business, and I'm trying my best, but it's just here is a little tough with the crowd. It's a little tough with the people today. They talking back. You cannot say, I'm sure you understand what's going
The
on.
crowd in the stories can be a little rougher than Forest Hills, yeah.
Yeah, it's really
Well, because we are a destination neighborhood, there need to be
Yeah, exactly. Your
Yes.
destination
by the
neighborhood.
nightlife people to make sure that an outside crowd acknowledges that they're in a residential neighborhood. I mean, that's a pretty high bar, but many clubs actually do meet it. So what I'd also like to do is open this up to the rest of the board and see if you have anything to add or questions to ask, because we have heard some feedback from various people, both in the community board and outside of it. So first Evie, then Marie.
Actually, go with Marie first, because I already asked a question. Then
Right. All right, Marie.
Lieutenant, I have a question about the 911 calls. Were they from within the place itself or for outside the premises? Do we know?
The bulk of them are going to be outside. I don't have the exact breakdown, but just from my experience working at night, it's from in front of the location.
In front of the location. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Evie, did you want to ask something?
Yeah, I have a few questions. So regarding security, who do you use? What security firm do you use?
What's the name of your security company?
CPS.
CPS?
CPS?
I'll get you that exact name.
Mr. Muhammad doesn't know the security company that he hires?
Is it PCS?
Yes, it's two. He has two companies, the same owners though. Yeah, that's why we have we operate under two. The other one, I'm not too sure of it, but I know one of them is
PCS?
PCS.
I think it's PCS.
So you use two security firms at the same time, different times? What's I'm not understanding.
The owner of the security company uses two different security corporations. But it's the same. It's the same guy who runs both security companies.
Yeah.
So sometimes
Could
we'll
you give
get
us the names? Could you give us the names again?
Yeah, I'll give me just 2 seconds. I'll tell you right now.
Now, how have they reacted as security contractors to the issues that happened in July and, you know, as the 311 and 911 calls came in, we didn't hear about that until later, but that's something that we take very seriously as a committee.
How did the security company react to it?
Yeah, if they're the ones who are in charge of keeping the peace, so to speak. If they have something like, you know, felony level crime going on in the club, how do they react and respond to it?
Well, I think Officer Dixon said, sorry, Lieutenant Dixon said that most of it was outside. I'm not sure specifically what went on inside.
We never had one incident. Not one incident ever happened inside at all. We have not one incident that was major and the NYPD 114 precinct came by and say, hey, something happened inside. And also, 114 have access anytime to all the cameras. So we have no incident inside the establishment at all.
Yeah, they're totally transparent with the community. No incidents inside. Now, if people are outside, they're asked to, go down the block, get an Uber, what have you, and they begin an argument with somebody else. I don't think security would get involved with that, right? Because that's outside. Or they would try to break it up to their best ability. They would try to break it up, but
we get involved to break it up so no one get hurt and tell everyone to relax and go home. And that's about it. That's what there's so much, like I was saying.
I think if there's no incidents inside, security kind of hangs their hat on that. It's Maximus Associates Security is the name of the company. Formerly PCS is what it was.
PCS, okay.
It was.
Yes.
Maximus Associates Security.
So it's just one company.
It's just one company, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And Marie, did you have a
Oh,
follow-up?
I had a couple
sorry,
more. I'm sorry,
continue.
Kathleen.
No worries.
So are you using third-party promoters?
No, we don't use no promoters.
You don't use any?
Any.
Are you sure about that?
Yes.
So everybody who puts on a night or an event in your club is someone who's an employee or someone that you have hired to do this.
Yeah. I know that they do hire. They'll bring in out. They don't have resident DJs. They'll hire DJs.
Yeah.
They'll promote. Oh, we have this DJ coming tonight, but they're the ones promoting it, not third-party promoters.
Well, it's sort of a fine line there, because if they're not employees of the club and they're letting people know they're at the club on that night, that's sort of fits the description of a third-party promoter. So once again, that's the sort of thing that ends up bringing in the very boisterous crowds into the neighborhood. So Marie, yes, you still got your hand up.
I had the same question as Evie, but I just want to go back to the security guards. How many, did you say you had 14 security guards?
13.
13. How many are outside?
5.
So
Sometimes 4.
Okay, so since you really had no incidents inside, would you think it would be prudent to put more security guards outside, especially when people are leaving?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes, we do that. We do actually do. We have 4 to 5 outside. Once we get everyone outside, yes, we send the rest with them. Absolutely, we do that. Yes.
But it doesn't seem to be working then.
Again, this is why. Again, I don't want to say much, and have it make believe like I'm using excuses. Again, it's very, and I need you to understand where we stand with this situation. Every weekend I have meeting with my entire security, and I tell them, guys, we serve the alcohol. There's some with it, which is the side effect. So we gotta be calm and easy with these people. When we go outside to tell these people to leave, we get people that's answering us back. They want to fight with us, and they start using big words, and they start and security also, they professional, they are licensed, so they have, if someone put hands on them or anything, we try to avoid. So it's really it's like babysitting, if I make sense. It's very hard, but I'm trying. Like I said, I've only been here, this is my second 2.5 years. I'm literally also learning as it goes what's going on in the neighborhood.
I think no incidents inside is pretty amazing. And we're open to any recommendations for how to handle the people outside.
Yeah, Lieutenant Dixon, I mean, you deal with stuff like this all the time, and you see it all on the weekend when Astoria becomes party central. So what kind of advice do you have as feedback to the owners to make things less fraught?
Well, when with the outside, you got to kind of try to move that crowd. Especially, I have a police presence there every day, so I've noticed that like the crowd just forms out in front. Whether your security is trying to move them or not, I can't really tell. But they have to try. I'm not saying that they should follow them down the block, but if you start to move the crowds from in front of your establishment, one, I mean, it disperses people. Like no matter what, some are going to go south, some are going to go north. Like it's just the way they're going to go. So it'll diminish the disputes that start out in front. Again, and I have a post there, like your security should be, if people are using big words to them, they should be, talking to the post that I have there to get help.
We always do. Sorry.
In order to keep down, keep down some of the crime, before it starts.
When your team, came on foot and they started standing around and that helped us a lot, very, very much. It literally took 70% of the problem that we had as personal.
Yeah, and I'm also going to say too,
it really does help a lot.
It does curtail, and so these numbers that I told the community board would be much higher if it wasn't for our presence. So you got to kind of, again, whether you're working with the serving of the inside, or if you see like problematic things going on inside, get it out earlier before like the end of the night, and then it's all spilling out onto the street. That's something that you have to take care of. I will commend you for not having any incidents inside, but most of my nightlife, most of the instances are outside in all the other locations as well. So I will give you kudos for that, but that is the nature of the game, that a lot of it happens out in the street, and that's where the community is really like, it's a problematic problem. It's a problem for the community because now it's outside on the streets.
I think what we're all aiming toward is that you kind of have to own what goes on, even as they walk out the door, because their night hasn't ended yet. And if they're drunk or if they're volatile or anything like that, security's mission is to make sure nothing bad happens. So we have a few hands up now. Jaleesa, Evie, Thomas. Hey, Jaleesa.
Yeah, hi, thank you. And I echo that in that you're trying to solve this problem. But I think when we first introduced this issue, the frequency of calls indicates a persistent issue, right? And considering the history of complaints and the lack of resolution, at least on your part, because you came in on the defense, saying that, we do have security guards. We can't control what people do. We can't escort them down the street. Like, what assurance, other than the added security, can you provide to us moving forward to engage constructively with our community and being a positive contributor to our neighborhood? Other than you saying that you may, because you're saying, well, we don't have incidents on the inside, but you do on the outside, and these are your patrons, right? Whether or not they finished drinking or enjoying their meal. And so what assurances can you provide us that contribute to a positive community, and that you and award you being respectful to our neighbors?
Yeah, I mean, I know that one of your managers, Mohammed, he has communication with Sergeant Gomez from the 114th, so he's in communication with him. I mean, having the people disperse off the sidewalk I feel like that would just solve everything. Because again, we don't mean to sound defensive. We just want the community to know that we are trying. Are not just letting these incidents happen, and we want to work together with the community. It's not us against the community. We are part of it.
Well, I would consider Marie's recommendation, right? Lieutenant, and can't give you additional posts. That these are your customers, and you have to be able to crowd control. And if you can make a recommendation to increase security outside, and I'm still waiting for additional assurances, then we'll be in a good place.
I mean, yeah, we'd be happy to put as many security outside as we need to. We're open to any recommendations, like whatever the community recommends, we're here for it.
Also, the precinct, as even the officers on foot there, if they we could, work something, we could work with them, say, let's try something new, and just be nice. Like I said, again, my biggest problem here is how they react, the customers. That's, I understand they're my customers, but sometimes when I say inside nothing happened, because I kind of control it more than outside, because outside I don't own. That's the first one comment, oh, you own this, things in that. So.
But yeah, we'll put more security outside. We'll instruct security to disperse them faster. And again, as far as we're open to any other recommendations the community might have.
Okay. Evie, then Thomas.
Yeah. When was your license renewed?
2 months ago, last month, last month.
And so we didn't realize that your license was up for renewal at that point. We didn't know that the NYPD, the committee did not know that the NYPD had flagged that. But did you sign stipulations?
We signed stipulations. We generally sign them during the original application, but never during a renewal.
So you did not sign any stipulations recently?
No, not recently. With the original
Madam
application,
Chair?
yes.
They're permanently attached to their license once
Okay.
they sign them.
Correct.
So do you know what was on those stipulations?
Yes.
So it was things like no third-party promoters.
Correct.
Right? But I have screenshots right here of third-party promoters for HOA. Are you using Castro Main Event as a promoter? Willie O? Are you using these people as promoters?
You know who Willie O is? I don't know Willie O.
No.
I'm asking the owner or whoever.
No, I'm not using those guys.
Not using Castro Main Event as a promoter?
No.
So these people just happen to be promoting your space?
I mean,
Randomly?
where are they being promoted?
All over social media.
TikTok, Instagram. There are people who promote, and that's third party.
Again, I know they hire outside DJs as any place would, because nobody has a DJ on payroll. I don't know that the DJ has any hand in that. We could tell him not to if he does, but any DJ who comes into a place, they're always going to try to promote themselves. I mean, that's the nature of their business, is to promote themselves as DJs. So if he hires me and I'm a DJ, I'm going to say, hey everybody, I'm going to play here. Come follow me.
I mean, I'm not sure if it's the DJ here, unless there's 6 DJs.
It's usually a line of like 6 people.
More. I think sometime on a weekend.
They'll have them switch in and out every couple of hours.
Correct.
I think we're getting to a point now where it's parsing what third party promoter means, and I think that's it's trying to sort of saying, well, we are abiding by the stipulations when it's not. So you have to look at that. You have to see what you agreed to abide by. And Thomas, I know, has a question as well.
Yeah, I have a few questions. Thank you.
Sure.
How many people are at the club at one time?
How many can you fit?
We usually could fit 300.
No, not counting, because you're not what the C of O says, because the C of O covers 2 floors. It's just the first floor.
We usually 150, 200 max.
150, 180, 185, average it out at max.
150 to 200. And you said you had 13 security guards, yes?
Yeah.
Yes.
Are they all on at the same time?
Yes.
Okay.
The stipulations ask for, I think, 1 for every 75 people.
Sir, I'm very familiar. I've read the stipulations.
Okay, I'm sorry.
On your application, it requires that when you put live music, that you give details. What type of live music is it? I noticed that this is blank.
I'm just looking at the application.
Yes. Also, you've said that there is a DJ checked recorded music and you have live music. That's 14 method of operation?
They'll have, what is a saxophonist will come?
Okay. And also licensed outdoor area. Before we leave that, is that inclusive of anything else, or is that your complete answer? A saxophonist. There's no additional bands, things that are playing. That's it.
No. You only have, who comes by? Just the guy with the saxophone?
Yeah, that's it. Those are the him and the rock.
Just the saxophonist, yeah.
Now, on TikTok and other areas, I saw that you have great reviews for both your indoor and outdoor space. Do you have?
We don't have.
They absolutely don't have an outdoor. My office is across the street from them. They've never had an outdoor structure, outdoor seating. They never had the open dining out NYC. So that 100% they never had an outdoor space.
Okay.
And I think the police can attest to that if they've been, if they're in front.
I just saw that review. So maybe somebody went to another
Okay.
place and had a great time and just thought they were at your place. And I want to address I have a job where everyone is confrontational, and I just want to say we're not here. The reason that we want to speak with you and speak with owners because we recognize this is a huge investment, and we know that Home, which was incorporated as Home Restaurant and Lounge Inc. You're saying it was not the predecessor to HOA, Astoria Restaurant and Lounge Inc., that they are two separate companies, separate ownership and management, correct?
100% separate.
Despite the similarity of the name. You also noted that HOA, you told the board that they purchased the establishment. What does that mean? When Mr. Mohammed bought the establishment.
Yeah, so you can either, buy the shares of the existing corporation 100%.
Sir, I'm an attorney. Please don't educate me. What did you mean?
He opened his own corporation and he bought the space.
So the space on your application says that the space is owned by KGG Realty LLC. Does he own KGG Realty LLC?
No, that's his landlord.
Okay, so he does not own the space.
So he bought the ability to rent the same space.
So he purchased the lease.
Yes, he purchased he also got a new lease.
So what did he purchase? You said he bought the establishment.
Then it's the assets of the business. He kept the tables, he kept the kitchen equipment, he kept everything. The old owner in his old corporation left, and he came in with his new corporation, and whatever was there is now his.
So a bulk sale. Okay.
Yes.
Did he buy any contracts with any promoters?
No.
No. Were there any contracts purchased?
No.
Okay. Now, we all agree that Home lost I hope we agree, I don't know. What I've read is Home lost their liquor license because of a laundry list of issues in 2018, right?
That is correct.
We want to avoid this for HOA. One of the issues also that we're facing here is DEP, because you have a lot of noise complaints. Now, you said that you had decibel readers. Is that correct?
Yes.
Where are they?
Inside. The manager has them in his hand. It's like a handheld decibel reader, I think, right?
So he has one handheld decibel reader?
Yes.
Okay. And does he keep a record of the readings?
Does he keep a record of the readings?
And I'm not 100% sure, but he has it in his.
I don't know that he keeps a record of the readings.
He step out, he comes in, he step out.
But he'll hold it. He'll check to see that it's at the correct levels. We could start keeping a record if you recommend that. But
I would recommend that, not for myself, but if certainly I were in your position with a client who was being questioned like he's being questioned, it's good evidence to have to show that he's within, especially if DEP shows up, because those fines and hearings can result in losing a liquor license. But the other thing I would add is just coming before the board. We do this for our community. We do this to support businesses as well. There are ways you can educate yourself. You can avoid what happened to Home. However, there has to be action on your part. And if I agree with you, there are things that are happening outside on the street. You can't control those. But it sounds like it's in such close proximity to your area. If I were the owner and the holder of this license, I would be concerned that one of those people who are calling or the reason 911 is being called outside a few feet from my door may step inside and bring those issues. So I think it would be advisable to partner with the lieutenant and go to the education opportunities that he has for such owners as yourself to ensure that this is calmed down, because what we're dealing with is quite a hot situation. And we've already seen what happens there. Home was in the same location, almost has the same name, and they lost their liquor license. And thereby, I'm sure that Mr. Mohammed got a great deal for his bulk sale due to the fact that they lost their liquor license. But I appreciate your time tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other members of the committee who have anything to ask or to add to the discussion? Let's see, I'm looking. Okay, nobody has their hand up. All right.
I do have another comment if allowed.
Of course.
Or just a question. Did you purchase the social media handles from the previous business?
Nothing, and nothing from the end. No. This is all us.
Okay. So you are the owner of the social media handles Home of Astoria?
Correct. Correct. Yes.
Kathleen, the lieutenant, has his hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry, please. I was looking at my notes again. Please, Lieutenant.
Yeah, while I have HOA on, we should be having a quarterly nightlife meeting that the borough puts on shortly. I'll make sure you get an invitation. I think that'll help you out a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Can I say one thing? I went to all of them until I have I had a kid and he had an issue. I haven't been there. The last year I went, but the year before I couldn't go. But I've been going since, like I said, I'm 13 years. I was going to the other ones for the other place. Like I know what's exactly, like I said, I go to those meetings, but I had a little family situation. I couldn't go in the last few years, but I will make it this year if they have one.
Yeah, like I said, I'll make sure that you get an invite.
Yeah, thanks.
I'm sorry, there was another place, the one in Forest Hills, or another 13 years in Astoria?
Forest Hills.
Forest Hills, the story has only been 2 years.
Okay, I thought you were talking about going 13 years to the 114 meetings. Okay.
Okay. Let's see. Do we have any other questions or comments that regarding HOA? All right then. And as you have noted, you were sent a list of all of the places that have put in for liquor licenses in October. And let me see if I can share that to the screen. I did have a problem last time, and I think it's my little laptop, but I'm going to try and make this happen again. So I'm sharing, and where is let's try desktop 1. And I'm trying to get the system preferences to allow Zoom to share something, but it's been giving me a hard time. Is there someone who actually can share this list? Because I've been trying unsuccessfully to do it. Okay, here's Zoom and camera, and click the lock to make changes. And I'm going to see if this finally works, because I've been having this issue for a bit. Okay, making the changes and allow the apps to, yes, okay, so now this I should be able to do. I'm going to try and share again. And desktop 1, screen, share. It's still not letting me open it. I'm going to have to deal with this. So, Evie, do you have the list on your computer? I'm trying to share it, but it's not going up for me, which is annoying.
I can try and pull it up. Give me a second.
Okay, thank you. And I will try and get this share issue
Okay.
taken care of because
I
I
just
have
need
here.
to be, I just
Yeah.
need to be made host,
Okay,
and I'll try and pull it up.
sure. Hold on. Let's
Can
see.
you allow Evie Hatzopoulos to share the screen, please? Thank you.
Okay. Please, yes. And I apologize for this again, but I've been having some issues with my computer's preferences. So is Evie the co-host now? Can she be?
Working on it right now.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right, you're the co-host now, Evie.
Would be best to take those down, please.
Is that screenshots from some? Anyway, we'll get to the.
Those aren't. Oh, I don't know. That's not my. What I'm sharing.
Encore
Take those
Sunday.
down.
Someone else is screen sharing, so I'm going to continue. I didn't share that. I guess
Okay.
that was from Hoa.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Let me just make sure I get the right one. This should be
Okay.
it.
Yeah, there it is.
Okay. Okay. Can everyone see?
You're gonna
Yes.
have to make it larger. They're very small.
Yeah.
Zoom in.
Okay. Yeah. So this will be reading October 2024 liquor licenses, and week by week, these are the groups that are putting in for either renewals or new liquor licenses. And we're also making sure that we have that the people who are on our committee have a chance, since they've gone over these, to make any observations or ask any questions that need to be addressed.
Well, we still have to hear from Republic Astoria, right?
That's correct. Now, have we had any success in trying to get Republic's representative to the meeting?
I haven't reached out yet because we were talking about HOA. So if HOA is done, then I'll put myself on mute and I'll give him a call.
Okay, so for the time being, we are finished with discussion about HOA, and we are trying to get in touch with a representative for Republic. Thank you,
Okay.
Gustavo. Give us a holler.
Thank you, I will.
Thank you.
Oh, and I do believe that the screenshot of the encore with the ladies was in fact advertised for HOA. So that's something that we can get confirmed or not.
I have more to that as well, as I was exploring their Instagram, which is why I wanted to confirm if they were the owner of that handle, because they do indeed have promoters reposting some of the events coming up this weekend.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. So yeah, we are still waiting for Republic, and then of the other groups that are asking, do other people have any thoughts on have any questions for them or anything to add into the record about what you're seeing here? And we've all been sent these. It gives the address, it gives whether it's a renewal or a new application in temporary status. And everybody has done STIPs. So we actually, Sing Sing Chicken has not, but I'm gonna ask Florence. It seems to me that's a place that's more of a restaurant that serves beer or wine. Is that true, Florence?
To the best of my knowledge, yes.
Okay. And the Let Love Inn does not have any STIPs on them. So I actually don't know who they are. Do you have an idea of who they are, Florence?
Traditional time bar here in Astoria.
Okay, and they have no steps on them. Is it because there's never been a problem?
Never been a problem.
Okay.
Where
So-
do you find that there's no stip? Where are you see? I see that little icon.
Look at the far right column going down. It says
Oh,
stipulation.
stipulation. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay, and Gustavo is back. Hello, Gustavo, are you back with us?
I'm back. There was no response. I'll try to get her on or get a call back, but if not, I don't know what I can do.
Okay, well, we, as Thomas has suggested, we don't have the answers to these questions, and I think it is important that we get them. So I think as a committee, we do need to hear from the owner and or general manager as soon as possible. We do have our full board meeting next week in which we share recommendations.
Okay,
So-
I'll have her reach out to you directly and try and see when's the next best time.
Okay, all right. Is there anybody else who has anything to say or comment about or add to our list of October 2024 liquor licenses?
To the chair,
Yes.
if they're unable to have the person come in today, we can write a letter to state, should it be your option, asking to put a hold on it. They can state that they are willing to put a hold on it, and they can reapply next month to renew their license after they've met with you at your next meeting. So they'll withdraw the application they submitted now. They'll reapply, and you can meet with them. This way, you have the opportunity to clear the air with all the situations that have arisen.
Okay, we'll definitely discuss that
Yeah.
after the meeting, but I thank you for providing that option because I think that is one of the things that we could do.
The committee would have to
uh,
tell them right
Okay.
now to withdraw their application so that
We're gonna,
when you talk under business, he'll have to stay.
Evie?
no, I'm just saying, we're not discussing it right now. We're looking at
No,
those
yes, it would be
warrants.
an option that you have that is workable with state liquor
Thank you.
authority.
Okay, so
That
we
being,
will-
I'm sorry, that being said, the renewal application hasn't been sent out yet, just so you know.
Okay, so we will be communicating with the owner shortly, I would say within the next couple of business days.
I'll have her reach out tomorrow.
You'll need
but-
facilitation. They'll have to reapply the 30-day application. We'll have to come back into the office and you'll have to start from square one.
That may be necessary. We don't have the answers that we need, so let's,
So
so,
be the most proficient.
yeah, that's, I would think, one of our strongest options right now. So if you could communicate that to the owner, then that would be very useful to us.
I will.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you all.
Okay, any other comments or questions regarding this list or any other of the things that we have discussed for liquor licenses?
I have no questions.
Okay, thank you, Thomas. You've been really helpful. Okay, so can we take down the liquor licenses and move on to the roadway dining? Is everybody okay with that? Okay, so we have 3 outdoor dining applications: Ovilia, Barrio Taqueria, and Aichiwawa. My suggestion is we do Ovilia and Aichiwawa first because there are some questions that we will have for Barrio. Is there a representative of Barrio here right now?
Good evening. Yes, I'm here.
Okay, so hopefully we won't keep you too much longer. Has everybody had a chance to look at the applications that were shared for the outdoor dining for Ovilia and Aichiwawa? Do we have a representative from Ovilia here?
Yes, Michael Kelly.
Hi, this is Kathleen. We've
Hi.
examined the applications, which are very nicely done in those 10-page packets. And basically our function here is to make sure that the owner does understand the city's rules and that they will abide by them and make sure that they stay within the designated space of the outdoor dining and also that they use the approved materials. Is that what the Ophelia plans to do?
Yes, we've been operating a sidewalk cafe there since 2006 with no violations and no other problems.
Yes, because this is a new procedure, a lot of people who have
Yes.
already been doing this are getting their applications in because it's a new process. So
Yes.
as far as you know, has there ever been a problem with your outdoor dining? Are you sidewalk roadway or just sidewalk?
We're just sidewalk.
Okay. And then I'm assuming you don't foresee any problems coming up.
No, we're basically in the same footprint we were before.
Okay. And now, does anybody on the committee have any questions to ask of Avelia, which is at 3401 30th Avenue here in Astoria?
I reviewed the application. It seemed fulsome and it looked very good to me.
Good. Well, here in Astoria, we have the tradition of outdoor dining for a long time. And I think as a committee, we're just sort of merging the stuff that people have been doing for a long time with what the latest applications and requirements are for the city. So anybody else have anything to add about Avelia? Okay.
Kathleen, yes, just would like to say Ovelia's been located there for many years, and they've always been a good neighbor to the community. And they have great food.
Well, hey,
Thank
that
you.
is Astoria. That goes without saying. Thank you. I really appreciate that. And I think we are lucky to have many good neighbors among the independent businesses that are here in Astoria. Great. Okay. So is there a representative from Chihuahua here?
Hi, good evening. Yes, Yaseline Nava, president of Chihuahua.
Hi. Well, you heard what we just asked about Avelia. There you are at 3616 Ditmars, and you have filled out the entire form for the city outdoor dining application.
Yes.
So do you have you have a strong understanding of what the city wants and how to fulfill it and what you can and cannot do?
Correct. So no outdoor music. We are mindful of pedestrians, making sure that the area is clean for the sidewalk cafe, and always a community concern. I did grow up in the area, so I went to school there, and the apartment building that's right across from Trade Fair, I live there. So that, that whole block is very important to me, is very special to me. So, that kind of adds on to like why we're also, always concerned about that whole community, making sure that everything is clean, and that, we're also mindful of neighbors. We know that some people live on top of the businesses, so we're also mindful of that.
Okay, appreciate that. Does anybody have any questions for Chihuahua?
I have one question.
Yes.
Is it Chihuahua, the city in Mexico, or is it Chihuahua, the type of dog that bit me when I was a child?
We get that question a lot too. I think we really wanted to make it catchy, so like Chihuahua, more like an expression.
Okay, all right. Chihuahua.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your time, and we appreciate your wanting to look out for the neighborhood as a part.
Thank you.
Okay. Do we have any other questions for Chihuahua? Okay, well, now we are moving on to Barrio. And the reason I asked that we switch them is because we do have a lot of community feedback about Barrio, and we do need to talk to the owners about what's going on with their establishment. Who's here from Barrio?
Hi there. Good evening. My name is Daniel Santander.
Hi,
Daniel. I'm the new manager, like 3 months ago from Barrio Taqueria. I'm here like to give all that information that I just collect from the past, and also to put myself in committing way to do whatever is the request from you guys, and do whatever I can do my best to like go forward with Barrio Taqueria.
Okay, this is an application for the outdoor dining permit. And one of the things that a local resident spoke about last month was that there was a costumed character pouring liquor into people's mouths on the sidewalk, which sets off many, many alarms, and that the noise and other disturbance from the sidewalk area is something that is absolutely not welcome in the neighborhood.
Totally, I agree. I just, how I say, the new guy, but when I collect all the information, I was talking with with the owners, and actually, I just submit a letter with my commitment to stop doing that, like go to the right way and do whatever is good for the community and for us. And the letter, my commitment was I'm gonna stop the luchador, that is a icon, Mexican warrior, whatever. And I just say that I'm gonna keep the luchador inside the inside doors, and I just creating a new way to celebrate it, because this is all we happen on the birthdays, you know. And we don't use it like regular, just when it's a birthday boy, birthday girl, whatever, we just go with the luchador and do our fiesta, whatever. So that was my commitment, to keep the volume also. We, even because the weather right now, and because it's the new thing that I'm gonna do, I'm gonna control the volume of the music. I seal the doors right now, and that's definitely my first task as a new manager, and that's definitely what I'm gonna do uh since today from in the future.
Well, you're the new manager. The same ownership, I presume, has hired you. So how do we know that the ownership's not going to continue to do things that have a negative impact on the neighborhood? Not to mention that I am not a lawyer or a police officer, but it seems to me pouring liquor into people's mouths outside is probably not something that's either healthy or within the scope of, say, a liquor license.
Definitely, yeah, you're right. This is kind of hard to, because since I'm here and that I just go and talk to the owner, and we go and not notarize the new letter and put myself, since I'm here, since I'm gonna manage the barrio, that's gonna be my priority. So it's kind of hard like to tell you what's gonna happen next, but since I'm here, definitely that's the things that I'm gonna do. I hope that that's gonna be, you know, like longer. And the corner is, I didn't consider like barrio, because we are like one block from Broadway, and I really know, because I use a lot the common sense. I know we are in the residential area, even if it's just one block. So
That's why we did get a petition, and
uh-huh.
there were signatures on it, and people spoke at the last community board meeting, which makes it a very big red flag for us.
Definitely, that's how I say the common sense is something that I really use a lot. I put it in my people here. I'm only absent of the place one day, but also that day I just control by phone, by internet, whatever. And it's my priority. Even that I know that this is residential area, I ask every single person that sit here, and a lot of people like the place, like the corner. They say I like the vibe. You guys are whatever. They also, a lot of people like it, and I explain to them, this is the local restaurant for you guys, and this place you can come, eat, drink, and also you can talk. You see, that's the difference. That's what I want to show people, and they like it. So I want to keep it like that. If you guys give us the opportunity, that's my job. And
Right. Well,
how I
we
say,
actually have some people who would like to ask questions and make comments. First Thomas, then Florence.
I think you should let me go first. It's rather
Okay.
important.
All right.
When they came into the office, and they gave the paperwork, and the owner's mother came in, and I spoke with the owner. They stated they would not have the gentleman in costume anymore, that he was fired. That's what I was told. I was told the gentleman in costume was fired and they were hiring a new manager. I've only met Danny on the phone, but I was told what you call the Ludador was no longer an employee. So I'm concerned about what I'm hearing, and I think that you all need to know that.
Well, I think that because there has been a change in management, I think part of our due diligence is to find out what's going to change from what wasn't working before. I think that's important. And Thomas, did you have a question?
I have a few questions, as is my current tradition.
Hey, we love it.
Yeah, right. Mr. Santander, I appreciate the fact that you are an employee, and I have great respect for employees. I know that it's part of your job now to speak on behalf of the owner of El Barrio. And so I'm sorry to put you in this position. Is there anyone else near you who is an owner of this establishment that we can speak to?
Unfortunately, not. It's myself right now as a face of Barrio. Mrs. Dory, that she's the owner, she's not even in the country right now.
She isn't. Okay.
But
Okay.
yeah.
So unfortunately, you have accepted the role. So please do your best to answer these questions. And I do ask them
I
very
will try,
respectfully,
definitely.
because I know you are only in the position as an employee, and seemingly you may not be able to affect the change that's necessary for the board. I understand luchador means fighter. And I understand there may be a costume of a luchador, which is a very fun thing. And possibly the luchador who got outside and was pouring booze down the throats of people outside, that person has been fired, but you still have the character of the luchador in the restaurants during birthday parties, as I understood.
That's correct.
And as the tradition is, I have been there before and seen where there's a birthday party and the luchador comes out and there's a bottle of tequila and people get shots directly in their mouth. That is something to go on record that is not acceptable to the community board, simply because of hygienic reasons. And also it really would be in violation of many things. So I want to just put that on the record, despite the fact that it is a tradition in your restaurant. Do you understand that that's the board's position, that having someone pouring
It's not
liquor
negotiation
directly
at that.
into
I hear that. I got it.
Okay, very good. Having someone that is dressed up as a luchador, because it's such, I think that's oftentimes, as we celebrate Mexican wrestling or wrestling and other,
Right.
it's a lot of fun. That's the problem, is not the fighter, the luchador, but the problem is, I believe, the unencumbered bottle of alcohol that's going around. Now, so I also would ask, you mentioned that you took a step. I don't know if it's a letter that you had notarized. So you have a notarized statement that you signed and had notarized, making representations that you would control certain things in the restaurant. Is that true?
Absolutely, to be in the same page, the letter say that I'm gonna stop the luchador outside, and I'm gonna control the noise, and also I'm gonna clean my walk size, like I'm gonna keep everything clear. That's also the 3 main points that I put on that letter. And honestly, that was Mrs. Doris who signed it, and we go and do the whole paperwork to notarize the letter. But I think I go where you're going, like if it's myself, but it's something that I definitely can do if you guys need it.
Well, as the employee of the owner, I'm glad to know that it's the owner's notarized statement.
Yes,
because I think we all know how it is to work for someone, and we know what the right thing to do is, but we're told to do something that's beneficial to the business, and we're put in a bad situation. So did you say Doris?
That's the owner.
What's her last name?
Moreno,
Sorry?
Mrs. Doris Moreno.
Moreno.
Yeah.
Mrs. Doris Moreno prepared that letter and signed that letter. So it's not your signature. And the letter is to keep the sidewalk clean, stop pouring the liquor in people's mouths. And one other thing, what is the third?
And the volume to control every single day the volume of the music.
Okay. And the volume with the music, do you have the decibel readers in place?
Say that again.
Do you have something that controls the volume that reads how loud it is?
I just put a new, how do you say, system, whatever it is, that I control all the volume from my tablet, because at the beginning, the DJ or whatever, they just go and use the controller. Now I can control myself with the tablet. That's the one I have every time in my hands. And also when I'm here, I can control it.
And unfortunately, you're there 6 days a week and still controlling things on the 7th day, you said, right?
Yes, so it's only one day that I'm off.
Oh, well, that's interesting. And now on the record, in case you ever need it. Well, thank you so much. I certainly appreciate your answering my questions.
Thank you. Thank
Okay,
you.
we have a question from Marie and then from Evie. Unmute.
Sorry. So I see the application is actually 2 dining applications. One for the curb and one for the sidewalk or the roadway. How are you going to manage the volume outside there? Do you have music also out there?
Not
You're not
no,
allowed. You're not
we don't
allowed.
have music
I
outside.
know you're not allowed. I'm asking if we have it.
No, not at all.
Not at all. So the people that have these noise complaints, they're all from within. They're from within the establishment.
I believe what happened is, if you see at this point, I'm right outside of the barrio. This is the doors of barrio. I'm in the table outside. But what happened was, in the summertime, all these doors are open. So
The sort of French windows, right?
yes. So again, my commitment is, for now, I just close it already. And in 3 days, someone is coming to seal because the weather and stuff like that. So that's gonna help us a lot to have the music, keep it inside. But again, when the time is coming, I just gonna control. If I have to open the doors again, I'm already know that the noise is something that I have to be really careful.
Okay, I also have a question about your roadway dining. The ones in the roadway. Is that easily movable? That furniture is supposed to be easily movable.
It is.
So I see, well,
I'm sorry.
it's not tables and chairs, is it? It looks like benches. What kind of benches are they?
At this point, actually, I cannot show you if you want. I'm right here. I just can move.
You can explain. You don't have to go for
Okay.
a walk.
No. They're easy to move if it's to remove. Sometimes because it's someone is coming, like groups of 10 people, I just move 2 tables and put it together. It's really easy to move everything here outside.
Okay, so it's easy to break down that whole structure, is it?
It is 100%.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and that is seasonal, so it has to be broken down.
And it's
Evie. Yes.
I mean, I just wanted to, so I live up the block, so not close enough to hear everything, but certainly close enough to hear from all of my neighbors how bad it's been for them. And sometimes there are DJs there, and it's true, when I do walk by, basically the whole space opens up. When you open the windows and the doors, there's really no wall. It's completely open. And so all that music, not during like into the night, is it's really, really problematic. It's very loud. It's very rowdy. People are getting shots directly into their mouth, even if they haven't ordered food. You've been advertising free shots, and people have been served without even ordering anything. So it's really been problematic. We've had other restaurants there, and it just has not been a problem. And unfortunately, this has been a problem. And I think the response, at least from my neighbors that I've heard from, is that when they have talked to the management, And I don't know, how long have you been manager?
2.5 months.
Yeah, when they've brought it up, it's kind of like, I think one response was like, well, we have to make money. That was the response.
Oh my God.
And another response was like, when the police have come by, they turn down the volume and then put it right back up when the police drive away. So, I understand you've only been there 2.5 months, but and this is with right now, you currently have both the sidewalk and the roadway dining, and you're asking for that again. And, in the 2.5 months that you've been there, it's still been a problem. It's still been a problem. People have still, had issues with the space.
How I say, I use a lot my common sense. If in 2 months and a couple weeks, whatever I have right here, is this is my when you get something that you have to fix. So I'm working on it all the time. Thank God I have to, now I close all the doors, but every single day I have the sorry about that. Every single day I have the volume things in my mind. Kids, we have to do this, we have to do that. It's my job. It's my job. In the beginning, I also say about the common sense. When the police came, many times they just walk out and they told me like, "I'm sorry. I know that is not even loud, but they called us. We have to come." And also myself, I said, "You do your job. I do mine. Don't worry about it." From my part, you're never gonna get a response like that. I'm also have a business in Long Island City, my own podcast studio, still like that. And I know how it feels it's like running a place that you need to fix things. So I can't put my hands in the pass on managers, whatever. But definitely it's something that I'm gonna fix if you guys let me do it.
Okay, we have some more comment and question. Thomas, Stella, and Florence. Oh, unmute.
Unmute.
Okay.
Very good. Thank you. Mr. Santander, I noticed on the application that it says that you have received stipulations, correct? And executed stipulations?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Yes? Did you read through those?
I don't have that paper in my hands right now. And also that kind of information is not in my hand right now, to be honest.
Well, you can,
But,
did you might want to say that type of information is controlled by Miss Moreno?
it
Because
is.
as the manager, Miss Moreno's not in the country, so you're the manager 6 days a week. Can I just draw your attention to the stipulation? It's very important.
It is.
To
Sorry about
manage
that.
appropriately, I would suggest you get it and read through it, because I would just draw your attention to paragraph 8. It says the applicant shall use all reasonable efforts to reduce noise emanating from the premises to nearby neighbors, including keeping the front door closed. And it also says, number 9, shall use reasonable efforts to ensure its walls are soundproof to abate noise from the premises. What it looks like you have there is a clear garage door that slides open and down that would have, it's just a glass door. Has there been
It's
any
two big
effort?
glasses. It's two big glasses. You're right. You're totally right. What I told to Dan is like it's with the technology today, even with the big curtains that is a soundproof, we can that also can help. So something that I just suggest to Dan to do it.
Right. So if you would bring to Mrs. what was her last name again? Moreno, you said?
Moreno, yeah.
Yes, Mrs. Moreno, the attention that she's now party to a stipulation that if she doesn't undertake to use all reasonable efforts to ensure that those walls are soundproof, she's in violation of that stipulation with the board, thereby in violation with the liquor authority.
Okay.
And certainly if you don't have this, we can make sure you have a copy of it. So just contact Florence, the manager here, the district manager. We'll be able to get that to you.
Definitely. I'm gonna get it in any way. I'm gonna get that information, please.
Yep.
Okay, so we have Stella, Florence, and Jahanaz.
I wanted to share that I'm in agreement with Ivy. I live nearby and I pass by there often, and I heard similar. Whether there are stipulations or not, I mean, we did talk, sir, you did speak about common sense. People should, employed regardless of the level, they should know right and wrong. They're in a neighborhood. There's no reason for sound a certain inappropriate behavior. It is pretty common. I mean, that you should know right and wrong. So this should have never have happened. We should never have gotten this far. I mean, this is already dreadful that it has gotten this far. And you're one person trying to influence it, etc. But anybody on every level of that establishment should have known. It is not supposed to be open, do whatever you want. That's really negligence and being inconsiderate of the neighborhood that they are a guest in.
Here. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Florence, then Shahnaz.
Thank you. New York City law states that if you have air conditioners inside of an establishment, it's illegal to have all the doors and windows open as such. Also, as Thomas told you, due to the stipulations, you're not allowed to have the doors wide open in that fashion. Additionally, with the DOT requirements for the sidewalk cafe and the street cafe, you're going to have to use DOT's furniture. You will no longer be able to use the furniture that you have, and that furniture will have to be stored with a vendor chosen by DOT. You are aware of all these things, correct?
Yes, we are. That's
So
correct.
those doors cannot be open ever completely the way you had them in the past. It's legally, you're not allowed to do it.
You're
Otherwise,
right.
just shut the air conditioning off inside.
You're right. Understood.
Okay. Well, that's important. And I
Yes.
think a lot of what we are hearing is that it's the noise and behavior from outdoors is what's really affecting negatively the block. And it's one thing if you're inside and the windows are shut and your people are laughing and partying, but when they're outdoors on the sidewalk, it's a different environment. So Shahnaz, I know you had a question or a comment.
I want to comment. Yes, thank you, Kesley. I see in the chat, someone said there's a lot of noise and the door open all the time. And as Thomas now said, the door is not supposed to open, but Mr. Daniel said in summer they open the door, the window or these classes. And now, even if we going to talk about noise, now this doors is not supposed to open since Thompson said this is the law, even in summer. Is that correct?
That's what I said. Yeah, in summer we open these doors, because that's the way they do it. But because all this happened, definitely we can close it. We can. They know that we have an issue with the noise, so it's something that we can fix it definitely, because that's the community requirement, and that's how I say in the beginning. That's the common sense, and also by the law is illegal. So we're not gonna go allow the law.
Thank you.
I think one of the most important points we are curious about is whether the ownership is going to allow you as the manager to do the things that reflect the feedback and complaints from the community.
But this is definitely they have to. It's not negotiation. We're talking about we are against the law. So definitely they also have common sense that we have to follow the rules.
Okay. Does anyone else have a comment or a question to ask about Barrio and their outdoor dining permit?
I would
Okay.
like to know when Ms. Moreno gets back, because I truly believe, despite the fact that she's out of the country, she could have appeared. And I do believe that we need to speak directly to her, since it is indeed her that will benefit from the grant of this license. Whether the license is granted or not, Mr. Santander's salary probably will not go up. She is the economic beneficiary and the responsible party for the license. I do appreciate Mr. Santander's openness and his frankness with the board. But I do believe that before it's granted, certainly we should be able to speak with a person that will benefit from the license.
Okay.
Definitely tomorrow I'm sorry, I'm gonna get in contact with her, and if you guys schedule an appointment or something, it's something that she can follow. She can do that.
Okay. Stella, you had one more comment?
Yeah, I wanted to share with the gentleman that we have several similar establishments where they have glass doors and they remove them in the summer, but we don't have any noise complaint. When they open the doors, they don't have the music, or it's so loud you have to be very close to them to even listen to it. We've never had an issue, and we have if you walk on Broadway on 33rd, 34th, we have several that have that kind of glass, and they open it up in the summer, and they've been there for years, and there's no issue.
I hear you. I know what you mean. At this point, how I say, and at this moment, I'm outside of the place. Right here, and this moment, there's music. We have music. We have some people inside. I'm outside, and I move my speakers when I see that all this happen. I move my speakers directionally inside, and they have like bigger speakers. I just bought the small ones that is more clear, and you can control more easier the volume. That's the tax that I'm doing right now, and I really believe that is gonna help us. Even if I put myself here, it's something that I'm gonna be careful all the time.
Okay. I thank you very much for your time. Please do communicate to the owners that
I will.
Yes, because I think that that's imperative. As the manager, I believe you're trying to do what you can do, but ultimately, order comes from the top, so to speak.
Yep,
So,
that's
okay.
how that works, of course.
Does anybody else have any questions or comments about Barrio and their application for the outdoor dining? Okay, I thank you very much for your time this evening, and we look forward to hearing from you very soon.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, and have a good night.
Okay. All right. So, see, now we do have the rest of the meeting to get through. And if anyone has any old business or new business, now is the time to bring it up. Okay. Are we still broadcasting live?
Yes, we have to broadcast live in perpetuity. There are no votes, and everything is recorded on YouTube.
Well, I think we've got a lot of food for thought tonight, particularly from places that have had a history. And I think it's up to us to decide how we feel like things will be going moving forward. So as Florence has pointed out, this is a Zoom meeting, therefore we can't do a vote. But I would like to get sort of a sense of how people are feeling about the issues we've discussed. If you don't feel comfortable discussing them in public, please feel free to email Florence and me and Evie, and we can
Madam Chair, we can't do it through emails. If you want to call a committee meeting prior to the full board meeting, you can do that.
Well, it may be worth it for us to come in a few minutes early next week, just so that we can all be on board and freely discuss what we think about our neighbors that we talked to tonight. If people can do it coming in 20 minutes early, we can have a little breakout session. Can we do that, Florence?
Breakout session is during the meeting, which
Yeah.
is the other option.
Okay.
So when you go into business, you can do a breakout session, but it's better to go in early because we have capital expense this month.
I think we can have a discussion now too. I think it's actually.
You didn't want to do it. Okay.
I mean, I certainly am comfortable sharing.
Okay.
I don't know if no one wants to share, but I
Well,
mean, basically
Maria-
at the board meeting, we'll need to make a motion on what we're going to do with all those applications. It seemed like the liquor ones were fine, except for the two problem sites. I mean, one of the license was already renewed, but it doesn't mean that we cannot write to the state liquor authority about it. We weren't able to we didn't get the information that the NYPD had flagged HOA as a problem site. We weren't able, we didn't know. And so it was delayed, but their license was granted as a result. However, the SLA commissioner has said we can send a letter at any time if we are having an issue with an establishment. We don't have to wait until they're renewed again. So
I think that's a very important point, and I'm going to go last, but I also see that Marie also has her hand up, and I very much want to hear what Marie has to say.
Well, I agree with Evie. It doesn't mean if we're inclined to do so that we cannot write a letter. Though I don't know how much weight that would carry at this point.
But at least it would be on the
But it could be there for next time that we did write the letter in case there's more issues with Home of Astoria.
I was going to ask how much influence would that letter have?
Well, we don't know, but it's always good to put in writing, right?
Absolutely. Yes. And Thomas?
I know I've spoken a lot today. I have a friend.
You've added a great deal. I will say that.
I have a friend who is Quaker, and she said there's certain Quakers who are called popcorn Quakers because their hands always go in the air. And that's how I feel tonight. She would not be happy with me. However, so I will address all three. With HOA, I would indeed like to issue a letter for the reason that what we have seen on this committee, only in the time that I've served on this committee, which is a small amount of time, that very, very bad things can happen inside clubs like this. The temperature is hot there, something is going to happen, and I think it's good for us to go on record to say we have notified the proper authorities of our concerns. The other one speaks, and I certainly have concerns there. Generally, I will say, as a member of the committee, and I think you all know my background, I feel that we offer the proprietor, someone who will benefit monetarily from the license, to come before the committee and controvert any evidence of their wrongdoing. That is their opportunity to come forward and speak to us, to try to convince us that what we're hearing from the NYPD is not so true. Republic did not undertake to do that and completely ignored us. HOA did the same by not even bringing a legal representative who is well-versed in what we're talking about, but by bringing an accountant who's being paid to do the application. I think as a committee, we should have a statement that such representation isn't allowed. It's really the practice of law in an unauthorized manner. And what it does is it allows the proprietor to sidestep accountability of the community board. I believe that is true from what Republic did to us tonight. I believe HOA did it to a lesser extent tonight. But I do believe El Barrio put someone who was in an employment position, who's in a position whereby their livelihood is garnered from the person who is offending their community. Of course, they have to come forward and say what their proprietor would want them to say to us. If there's any way for us to make a statement or pass, what would we pass? I don't know what to pass.
Well, since they're applying for outdoor dining, we can recommend perhaps that they not get it because the majority of the complaints are about the noise and the sidewalk, and they're applying for official use of the sidewalk.
Right. But also,
I'll get to you, Florence, after Thomas finishes.
If we could have a certain group of people, for example, in any court or any contract, you have to have a relationship. You have to be a signatory, right? You have to be a member of that contract, or a liquor license is held individually. The sidewalk cafe licenses are held by the corporation. The corporation has C-level staff and ownership. Having an employee show up or having our accountant show up, to me, is completely unacceptable.
I think that that's something that we do need to take into consideration. Florence, then Stella.
So when we invite the representatives. A lot of these businesses hire different kinds of people. Some of them have accountants, some of them have generic representatives, some of them have former police officers, some have lawyers. They all do not have lawyers. When the letter goes out from our office, it is clearly stated when you send somebody who speaks for your business, they are bound by discussing this to be obligated to conform to what the board asks. So anybody who comes to speak on behalf of a business owner is speaking as if they are the business owner, and that is understood by the business owner when our letters go out. And the stipulations they're bound by permanently once they sign them, because they are notarized and they are sent out to the state liquor authority, and any affidavits that they do for remedy of cause. So, for example, if this committee finds that the noise is egregious, you can have them sign an affidavit, have it notarized, and send that to state. And that affidavit now goes to state. So when the police give us another report after that, and we go back to state and we say, look, we have this affidavit. They promised they wouldn't make the noise. It is notarized. And the police go to their hearing, it has weight.
Well,
Without getting the affidavits notarized and sent to state, there's no impact, because noise has no impact on liquor licenses.
But one, we're doing the
Nor does it
sidewalk.
on DOT.
Two, as Thomas brought up, we don't want people practicing law who are not lawyers. That's bad for us. And also, as much as I liked Danny, he's an employee, and if he tries to do the things that we have asked him to do, she can still fire him.
Of course she can, but the point is, she sent him here to speak on her behalf.
Yes,
and she's
and
aware.
we have to take that with a grain of salt, just as we have to take with a grain of salt.
That's up to you. You're the chairman.
That HOA canceled at the last minute. So these are things that we observe as humans.
Up to you. Yeah.
And yes, Stella, did you want to add something?
Yeah, and it may be a question, and Flores may need to answer this. This is a Zoom meeting. Even if somebody's out of the country, I know when I run education meetings, I have students all over the international, and they log in. What's the excuse for the owner, even if they're in another country? I mean, we have internet now. It's why can't they just join, even if they have their lawyer here? But if the owner is needed, why can't they just join in on the meeting?
I think that's a reasonable request, unless there's something absolutely prohibitive, like they're in the space station or something. But even
or in the hospital, in a coma. I mean,
yes. Thomas, did you want to add on to that?
Just to say that I agree with Stella. Our nature as a board is we are really an accountability board. We ask people to come before us and be accountable for the things that they're alleged to have happened. If they're sending their employees in questioning them, I really felt very badly trying to hold accountable an employee. I just felt that, this guy what has he done to deserve the ire of the community, except apply for a job and get it? But that's my point, that's all.
And I think that because we have so many independent mom and pop sort of businesses, I think it is incumbent upon the people who run them as the owners to let us know what they're doing. This is not like getting the manager of Best Buy in or something like that. This is,
Right.
Okay, and Evie, I know you have something to say.
Evie disappeared.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Just going back to some of the clubs, there are, not owning up to the fact that they are using third-party promoters. I mean, Jaleesa, you found stuff as we were talking, right? Like, sometimes it's buried, but it's like there. So there's like just kind of people just not being truthful about that and trying to hide information or not own up to it, which I think is very problematic. And the State Liquor Authority Commissioner has said noise does factor with liquor license. She said it at a borough board meeting, and I watched the meeting, and she said, log your complaints. If they have to do with noise, log your any complaints that they do care about that.
It was at the borough cabinet, Madam Chair, and
Well, I think we need to listen to what people are telling us, and they're telling us both directly and through the 911 and 311 calls when people are not being good neighbors. And it's our decision. How do we judge whether someone is being a good neighbor or not? Or, if there's smoke, do we call the fire department? So I think we've seen a bit of that tonight. And then also to remind you that we're looking at liquor for Republican HOA, and we are looking at outdoor dining for Barrio. And based on what we've heard, I don't think they're prepared to do outdoor dining properly.
I agree. I would completely agree. One, even if they are prepared, we've not heard from a decision maker to give us the security and the comfortability to feel that they will follow the stipulation.
Yeah. I think that as basically Astoria residents who live in and around these places and have been around for a while, we can get a feeling when someone is not capable of doing something or not able to come through what they promise. I'm never going to say nobody's lying to us because we don't know.
Right.
But we have to look at the situation and say, I'm not sure we can get to point A from point A to point B with you. So that's what it comes down to, I think. So does anybody else want to comment on the businesses that we spoke to this evening, or add anything else that we should know as a committee?
Only that you had said previously that someone from our committee had a question about what a stipulation is. I'm very happy. I deal with stipulations every day. I happen to be a principal law clerk in the Supreme Court. It's a stipulation is from the Latin word promise. So it's a formal promise, and it's made part of their contract. If anyone else needs to know or has questions about it or wants to dive into the language, which is a little loose in the stipulations, but is general and is well understood, they can read it, and I'm happy to answer any questions. And if they have suggestions for redrafting, I'm sure we could bring that.
I think that's a wonderful idea, and I think we should all, if we have any questions about STIPs, we should ask, because the unasked question is the one that'll end up biting you in the ass. So that's, a really novel way of putting it. Okay, so I think we actually do have a sense of what we've heard this evening and how we feel about our recommendations to the full board. So unless there's anything else now, I will ask for a motion to adjourn. Someone?
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
Second.
Okay, does anybody?
Madam Chair,
Yes?
are we asking them to pull back their license, to withdraw it, and to reapply next month so you can meet with them? I'm not clear on that factor.
I think we should do that because we do not have the information that we need to make a recommendation. That's the one that is Republic.
That's because we'll need it from them in writing if that's what you want. So I would have to pursue that before.
I believe that's probably the fairest way to do it, because we don't have what we need from them, and we can't make a recommendation. So I'm very sorry she couldn't come at the last minute, but I hope that she will be able to come, or have an official lawyer for her rather than her accountant come and speak for her next month.
I would just say if they're not willing to pull their application now, then we vote it down.
Yeah, so
Right.
we have to do that
Yeah.
before the meeting. That's why I'm asking.
Okay, ask them to do that. If they don't pull it out, then we also have our answer.
And
Okay.
we still might vote it down anyway, depending on how it goes.
Yeah,
But-
for sure. That's a whole thing, but I'm guessing you want to do the interview.
I believe we do. But ask them to pull it now. If they say no, let's just go ahead with it, then we also know how we're going to recommend.
Precisely. Okay,
And-
thank you for that.
Florence, I believe that that's very magnanimous of us. She's been scheduled a month or more.
Yeah.
We're here waiting for her, making ourselves available for her to come in and give us and make us comfortable with approving or making recommendation to approve. She did not do that. Out of our generosity as a board working with our community, I think we should say you got one more chance before we decide to deny your or say that it should be denied to the full board, only because she didn't
You don't
show up.
have to I mean, it's been done this way before. You don't have to ask them to pull. You can just vote on it if that's what you choose. I wasn't clear on which direction.
Well,
think
we're
it's
going to
more
give her
fair.
one more chance, and oops, I knocked myself out there. And if she is not able to come or send the right representation, then I think that's an automatic we can't recommend. And if she doesn't want to pull it out for this month, I think that we don't have what we need, and I don't know that we can recommend.
Are there going to be any guidelines given for HOA, or is it going to be a straight vote? Because a lot of times what will happen is you'll get affidavits from the committee. So is it just going to be going from now on? Are we going to be jumping straight into a straight vote? Is paperwork going to be drawn up to give to them to notarize anymore?
Well, I think that's good because it is a paper trail. But what we're asking them for is not only their word on paper, but to come in and ask the questions, the unanswered questions that we have. And as a community group, it's our responsibility to the people who say they're too noisy, there's too much violence there, that sort of thing. I think that ultimately we need to make the decision based on both paperwork and real interview. And Thomas?
No, I'm sorry. I'm just.
Okay.
I don't think that answered my question, Madam Chair. What I'm asking is, you know that these are the problems. For example, if you want 5 more security guards, are you going to ask for that in writing?
We will do that in the cases when we have a chance to talk to the principals. That's I think what we can do. And whether it's HOA and his.
But the principal was there with HOA.
I know, and I don't know that he answered our questions to our satisfaction. As for
got it.
The public, we're just facing a wall of unknowing, and in a wall of unknowing, we're not going to. It's highly unlikely there will be a probable outcome.
All right, so I'll send an email for them to withdraw in writing, and I'll get back to you immediately.
Okay, and then hopefully she will be here next month, and we will be able to ask her the questions that we were not able to ask Gustavo this evening.
I really appreciate your time.
Okay. If I can ask regarding specifically HOA. So HOA has been approved, but and I believe I speak with other people on the board, are uncomfortable with not making a written statement about the current situation despite approval.
Yes, I think you're saying what we're thinking, and I think that the response to that would be a letter to the SLA outlining our concerns.
And saying, yeah, we could do that. We didn't have the opportunity to do that. And so we should say that we are not comfortable with whatever it is. We can say we are not comfortable with them having been granted another liquor license.
It's another brick in the wall, so to speak.
So for clarification, are we going to move forward from now on in the summer having Consumer Affair Committee meetings? Because we never had in the 17th.
Florence,
is this something
you're going to share information when it comes, when a site is flagged?
That was never done before, Madam Chair.
Okay, Florence, you know what?
We're a very busy part of town. And that's
what I want to confirm.
We asked multiple times whether any of the sites that came in over the summer, whether there were any issues with them, and we were told no. And Officer Tovar sent a report. Excuse me, I'm talking. Officer Tovar sent a report on July 20th that was never sent to me, never sent to Kathleen, even when we asked, and even up until the meeting that we had last month.
That's not how it happened. It was explained it happened in July. I reached out to Kathleen. I asked her if we were going to have meetings. She went to Ireland. She came back. It was forgotten about.
Okay, I'm sorry. We have a motion on the floor.
Okay, I think we should adjourn. Okay.
I want to work with you. I want to learn what you're going to expect.
Okay, we will
have time,
but tonight I think everybody's done some really great work, and we've decided some important things and moving forward ways that we are going to work. So I think that's a really good evening's work. So, all in favor of adjourning? Aye.
Thanks,
and
Kathleen.
I will see you next week. And if anybody has any last minute thoughts or questions, please feel free to let me know.
May I please get an outline of the future meetings going forward, how you want them outlined for the
I will draft that for you.
It would be greatly appreciated.
Okay. I always want to make your job easier, Florence.
Thank you. And I want to help as well. So I know what you expect. Have a wonderful evening.
Everyone. Have a good one.
Bye-bye. Thank you all. Great meeting. Bye-bye.
Here we go.